Nestled in southeast Iowa, Lake Darling State Park has fantastic amenities and room to roam. Join us as we share our trip guide to Lake Darling State Park through outdoor adventures made easy. As with our other trip guides, we always start with an area map, but for once, we finally have a park that has a very straightforward map. So when you come in off of the main road to Lake Darling State Park, this is what we're going to call the main entrance road. And from that main entrance road, you can turn off into whatever you're interested in stopping at, whether that's one of the boat ramps, the concession area, the shelters, the lodge. As you keep continuing back, you go through the campground, and then you can either stop at the rustic cabins or the modern cabins. So we are thankful for the great signage at Lake Darling State Park that makes this a fairly straightforward area to explore. Moving on with the trip guide, you'll see some of our recommendations for what to do while you're in the area. The first thing that we recommend is to ride the bike trails. So we are always amazed at the work that the Friends of Lake Darling are doing to constantly improve this area. They've built bridges, they're constantly adding new trails, and they've built the lodge and cabins in the area. So they're constantly working to improve the area itself. We love these bike trails in the area. Not only are they paved and easy to use, especially for the kids, but they don't have like crazy steep inclines. So they're pretty easy and straightforward for the kids. In fact, each of our 3 kids have learned to ride their bikes there at Lake Darling State Park. Don't forget to grab your gear and do some fishing on the lake. If you're interested in shore fishing, this is a great opportunity. There are so many different rock jetties and those paved trails that line the lake, which make it very easy to do some shore fishing. If you're interested from fishing from the water, keep in mind that this is a no-wake lake. There are 2 different boat ramps which are very nicely done and have lots of room for parking. Another favorite thing we like to do at Lake Darling is paddle. If you don't have your own boats, no problem. The Friends of Lake Darling actually has a concession there which allows you to rent canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, and even a rowboat. While we're in the area, we like to paddle into the different feeder streams and creeks because it feels a little bit more secluded, and especially if it's windy on the lake, you don't have to battle that quite so much. While there is so much to do at Lake Darling State Park, don't miss these 2 nearby stops. The first stop is Brenton Timber, which is about 10 minutes away from Lake Darling State Park. This is definitely a little bit more rustic, and this area is designed for hikers and horseback riders alike, so keep that in mind. We prefer to hike this area in the off-season when the undergrowth has died back a little bit and you can kind of see through the timber a little bit better. We like to get back to the Bent Rock Trail area, which features 2 different limestone outcroppings. The first is called Bent Rock, which is at the conjunction of 2 trails, and the other is Table Rock, which is just a little bit off of one of the trails, but it's a large boulder right next to a little waterfall feature area. So this is a really cool area to hike back to that we really enjoy. I would recommend using an All Trails app while you're here in this area because some of the trails can be just a little bit confusing, although I do think they do a good job of keeping them marked. Looking for a nearby stop that's a little bit more developed? Then Mar Park is your place. This area has a campground, shelters, a lodge, nature center, playgrounds, and 2 fishing ponds. We most prefer to go play at the playground, which is situated between the 2 fishing ponds, and kind of explore in that area. I would recommend bringing a fishing pole or even a small net to see if you can catch any interesting critters inside the ponds. One of the best things about Lake Darling is the amenities. There are so many fantastic places to stay. So if you're looking at camping, then the campground has lots of different options as far as electric, non-electric sites, and sites with full hookup. If you're a little bit more into the glamping, there's rustic and modern cabins. There's 6 of each. These are in high demand, so I would recommend that you make these reservations ahead of time because they do fill up rather quickly. Our extended family has opted to, instead of getting together for major holidays, Now we get together at Lake Darling State Park. We each rent different cabins and we're able to spend some time together as a family, but then we're able to each go back to our own cabin for a good night's sleep. This is an awesome option as far as family get-togethers, weddings, class reunions, or even just a group of friends that want to spend some more time together. On page 7 of the trip guide is our car camping packing list. This is a great starting point for you if you're planning on camping. On page 8 is our fish identification guide. These are some of the main fish that you might find in Lake Darling. This is a great place for those who are newer to fishing or if you're interested in teaching your kids how to identify the fish they catch. Whether you're seeking a peaceful retreat in nature or an action-packed adventure on the water, Lake Darling and its neighboring attractions have something to offer for everyone. So pack your bags, download your trip guide, and let's go to Lake Darling State Park. We promise you won't be disappointed. We hope this creates an outdoor adventure made easy. Looking for more adventures in the Midwest? Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.